Welcome back to the workshop. If you had seen the previous videos on making rabbets and grooves for the sliding panel, here's the sliding panel. I've actually added another piece to it to extend it to fill the gap in this pegboard cabinet that I'm making. The pegboard cabinet is in pieces now, but it'll soon be a full piece. So we've since made dados in some of our pieces. I'll talk about that in a minute. We have, this is the center divider, which is 2 1/4-inch pieces glued together. So instead of making or cutting something I already had to get this piece, I just took 2 pieces of scrap, glued them together, because remember, this is a scrap project. So that's that. And of course we have our side pieces and our top and our bottom, which have the groove from the previous episode and now also a dado. And so I'll talk really briefly about the dados. The dados that were for this area made very similar to these, measured out, 2 lines created, and then using chisels and then the router plane, I went ahead and made that for the center divider. Here's the center divider put in here. And that with the sliding panel, will work just well. And that way the sliding panel covers at least half of it, or covers the panel somewhat so that it is not visible when it's open. So when it's this way, you've got the drawers. When you got it this way, you have the open space. And that helps very well. Now, how I decided on the dados for this side and for the end panel, I will talk about next. So here is my divider piece. It'll fit in the base like this. This is, as I said, this is 2 1/4-inch pieces glued together to make a 1/2-inch piece. And then into the dado. Now, I need to make the where the shelf divider is going to be. So we have shelf divider here that will go into here on the one side and then the end on the other. So how did I do that? The way I did that is I discovered what the halfway point was on this board, which was about right here. And I did that using the ruler on my Works Pegasus that has, the 0, 2, 4, 5, whatever on either end, basically a center line ruler. So I did that to find this, and then off of that used this rule to figure out 1/4-inch and mark for that. So this is for a 1/4-inch dado that will hold the shelf in place. So how am I going to make this then work with this? How we're going to put this here? So what I did was setting this in here, took a pencil, made a line down here, and then from that line, determine the distance between this line and the bottom line here, which was about 3 9/16. So, doing the same thing over here, taking this one, doing a line, that line is here, and then I measured out the 3 9/16 for this line here. And I marked that, and then added it in using my square. So hopefully that will work. And then, of course, this is the bottom line, so then taking my rule, figure out the 1/4-inch, and that could be any increment here. Let's see here, the 1 to the 3/4. Taking the square, there you go. And then I just have to figure out how far it's going to go. Now, for this one, I'm going to let it go all the way through. So all the way to this end, taking my square, measure to about here. Find that spot, a little sweet spot. And then transfer that over to here. There we go. So I'll make the dados on those two as well. Both on this one and on this one. So, using dados, grooves, and rabbets, I have been able to create this piece. This is just a dry setup. This is not the glue up yet, but give you an idea of how we're using all the different components to make this come together. Here's our sliding panel. And I'm going to use some of my, these are clamps from the Works Pegasus. They work very well actually on their own without the Pegasus table. It's just giving me some simple clamps. There's the shelf. Okay. So there. This is what it will look like. The sliding panel. So we'll have an open space and we'll have drawers. So the next thing I'm going to do probably is clean this up a little bit. Remove any of the, I've got letters on the different pieces. I'll erase that off. Go ahead and glue it up. And then once that's done, it'll be time to make the drawers. So this is about the completed pegboard cabinet. So I've got my open space here, and I got my two drawers. So two different drawers, just very rude, crude little drawers. See, we got a little purple heart, because we always have to have some purple heart from the Parthenon left over. So there's one drawer. There's the other one, same deal. And so the bottom is just slid in here and attached along the sides. I didn't do it the way you would normally do it, and then I reinforced it with some blocks on the top because, again, this is a scrap project and I really don't care. As long as it does the job. I've also gone ahead and, well, I should note, I made the little indentation in the door so it can be slid back and forth. And then I've attached the back, and this is just simply drilled through with a drill bit, countersunk, and then put number 8 1-inch screws in to attach it to the boards of the carcass. So really that's the end of this. However, I still need to get it onto the pegboard. So that'll be the final step. So I managed to get it attached to the pegboard. The way that I did it, I first drilled a hole through the one side and figured out I wanted to attach it to the wood that's behind the pegboard that the pegboard is attached to on this side, and then I measured out where there would be a hole available on this side and did that all the way around. How it actually attaches on this area that doesn't have wood is these wall anchors. Who doesn't have wall anchors just sitting around from past projects? So I was able to use the wall anchors with an 1¼ inch number 8 screw, and that is how it's attached to the wall. And then additional to that, let's take the drawers out. So I drilled through on the 4 holes, and then I wanted to countersink. So because I needed the heads to be flush with the wood so the drawers could fit. So I used the countersink bit that came with this Yankee, it's actually a handyman drill, and that allowed me to get into the corners to do this, because I wasn't able to do that with my normal drill, power drill. And I didn't want to sit there and, do it with this. So that made that work, and the drawers go in just as they're supposed to. As far as getting this squared up, it's pretty much balanced. The bubble is in the middle. It's a little bit wanting to go this side, but for my purposes here in the workshop, this is perfect. It's up there, it's not moving around, and it has plenty of room for me to store stuff in. I probably won't be putting any finish on this. Polyurethane shellac, I don't really need it because this is a workshop project with using scrap materials, even the oak, and so that works out for me. So I have 2 drawers on this side and plenty of room on the other side, which I might use for this wood carving set that I recently got from Harbor Freight. My next project, Puzzle Cabinet 4, is going to be using some carving, and so that's something that I could use, that I'm definitely going to use this carving set on, and I might end up keeping them in here. I'll do a separate video on that carving set, see what all is inside. But for this project, the sliding panel has worked out, the drawers have worked out, it attaches to the pegboard. I really even have some room on top to put something on top. I'm sure, I don't know what I'm going to put in here right at the moment, but I'm sure I'll find something that will work. So that's it, the pegboard cabinet. Thanks for watching.